What's up guys, welcome back to a new Dying Light 2 video. Just to get into this one quick, be sure to subscribe if you aren't already, of course, none of that BS though. The system requirements just came out today, and we're going to go over this quick and see if you can actually run the game. So just in my opinion, this came in a little bit higher than I was expecting. I thought it was going to come in just a bit lower than this. So just to start off, let's look at the low settings here. Ray tracing off, 30 FPS, 1080p, low settings. It's going to take a 1050 Ti to run that and an i3 9100. So if you're on one of the lower end systems below this, it is not looking good for you. And I was a bit surprised when this low end came in at 30 FPS. If we look at a game like AC Valhalla, I mean, you can just YouTube this stuff. This exact setup, i3 9100 and a 1050 Ti on AC Valhalla will get you about 45 FPS. On RDR2, it's going to get you about 30 to 40 FPS. So they probably came in here 30 FPS, a little bit conservative, and it's probably going to run around 40 to 50 FPS, I would say. So if you're looking for a way to compare this, if you played Valhalla or RDR2, it's probably going to be very similar performance to that game. If we move up to high settings with 60 FPS, it's going to take a 2060 and a 3600X to run the game at that setting. I myself have a 3600 and a 2060 Super, so this is almost exactly my settings, and 60 FPS on high is not too great in my opinion for me. Especially I want to stream the game, I'm probably going to have to end up either upgrading or getting a different PC for streaming separately, which I thought about doing anyway, so it's no surprise, but just to throw that out there. So I'm not really too happy with these. I mean, it's around what I thought, but I really thought this was going to be a bit lower. And before you call me out for like, oh, complaining, I mean, not really. If we look at this is a little bit higher requirements than most of the games coming out nowadays. And I was hitting probably about 80 to 90 FPS on Valhalla, maybe hitting somewhere around 65 to 70 on the low end. And most people would agree Valhalla did not perform that well at all, to be honest. But this is just from the paper, so there's nothing really like system requirements. I hate system requirements because there's nothing really concrete here. So people are already making the jokes about people on PC complaining about not being able to run the game, but it's understandable. I mean, just from the requirements, this game is not going to be easy to run for low-end users. I mean, we knew this game was going to be intensive, big map, good graphics, but the question is going to be how high of FPS can we really get even on the higher end systems? Because there's people even worried on the higher end systems that they might not even be able to get over 60 FPS in ray tracing, which in my opinion, I think ray tracing is a waste of time, but I like to go FPS over ray tracing any day. But at the same time, it's like, what's it going to take to get over 100 FPS here? Because that's something I've been struggling with, and a lot of other people with even higher end PCs than me have been struggling with, is getting over even 100 FPS, where usually that was like pretty easy back in the day on most games. So I think there's some people that need to pipe down talking about, oh my god, people expect a 2004 computer to run this game. Like, no, this is a very demanding game from what we've seen. Acknowledge that. Don't act like this is the best optimization or best system requirements we've ever seen. This is on the high end. Like I said, AC Valhalla was on the high end. A lot of people didn't think it performed well, and this is looking to be even higher if it's accurate. That's why I also said don't take this too seriously. They're probably going a little bit conservative. Just to relate it back to my system, I mean, it says recommended for 60. It could maybe run towards 90 to 100, possibly somewhere around that range. I wouldn't expect it getting too much higher than that. Something like Cyberpunk, I mean, I was hitting like 60 to 70 FPS on medium settings, medium, high settings on my system. That game was all over the place. I mean, I was running better on high than I was low settings. But just from the paper, this game is looking like it's going to perform a little bit better than that, or maybe around that same area. Hopefully with a lot less of the jagged bugginess and all of the, weird performance issues. Of course, the game is 60 gigabytes, no surprise. I don't know if that 21 gigabyte thing is still going to happen on PlayStation. That sort of thing we heard a while back, no idea on that. To wrap this up, I think this is even a bigger call that we need last gen gameplay. We expected something like this. I personally didn't think it was going to be this high. But yeah, just last gen gameplay I think is absolutely necessary. That's going to be about it. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more in the future. And I'll see you in the next one.